Hello again, friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your Sunday's Talking Town. A slightly different Talking Town for a Sunday. It's a match preview as Town are away tomorrow in the FA Cup against Nottingham Forest. Want to know your thoughts, your feelings, your opinions, and any other thoughts you've got on the weekend's action so far. Might be a little bit to talk about, which we'll cover towards at some point in this show. But don't forget, we are partnered with the East Anglian Air Ambulance. If you want to help save lives and the chance to win £1,000 every week, play the East Anglian Air Ambulance Lottery. By playing just £1 each week, you are helping to keep their yellow helicopters flying. The East Anglian Air Ambulance Lottery creates 18 winners every week, with prizes ranging from £50 to £1,000. Over 18s only. T's and C's do apply. Check the link in our description. But whatever you do, please gamble responsibly. Tommy K is in the chat. Welcome in, Tommy K. Adam, who was at Old Trafford Wednesday, I've seen some great pictures. Adam, I hope you had as good a time as you could, despite the result. But welcome all. And joining me in this match preview is the one, the only, Mr. Matthew Phillips. Welcome in, Matt. How are you?
Good, thanks. It's very spring-like here in Chelmsford today.
Certainly is here as well. Blue skies, sunshine.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, funny we had a bit of blue skies and sunshine over Ipswich Town's current predicament, but never mind.
Well, Harp says, afternoon, guys. Been a great weekend so far, probably because Town haven't played yet.
Yeah.
Which isn't too far wrong, I'll be honest. I disengaged, as I said I would on after the show Thursday, but I wonder, because it's so nice outside, if anybody's listening to us or watching us while doing their gardening. If they are, leave a little gardening emoji in the chat, or if you're watching on Catch Up, FTA, comment for that algorithm. It's gardening time, right? When you see the sun out and it's nice.
Yeah. Are you a big lawn mower? Is that how you would describe it?
No, I'm not a lawn. Well, I've got grass at the front, but environmentalists probably wouldn't like me too much. So I've got artificial turf in the back. Oh,
that's right, of course. Leading to the Budgie Sanctuary.
Yes, leading to the Budgie Sanctuary, but it's more so for the dog, because our dog's a bit of a digger. And of course, they go to the loo.
I was going to say easier to
must come out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But we're here to talk about the FA Cup. I think Kieran McKenna said something along the lines of, if we win and you can start to dream. What are your thoughts heading into it? Welcome distraction, time to dream if we do win. Where's your head at with this?
Yeah, I mean, look, we've not been this close to Wembley for God knows how long. Ever since the heavy days of the Johnson Paints campaign in League One.
Playoff semi-finalist, you're only a game away.
That's true. Yeah, that as well. I don't know, just something a bit more magical about the Cup, I suppose, isn't it? The tradition of it. We've won it before. It's the only time we've played in the Cup final was 78. So, yeah, who knows? I mean, you win this, you get to the sixth round. That's really the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great to win and then get Preston at home or something?
Could we be going a winnable tie? Yeah.
Could we be going to the Wembley, Martin? It's one of my bugbears since the show started.
Well, getting relegated. Could we roll it back and win the FA Cup, qualify for Europe, and be playing Preston and co next year in the league, followed by trips to Sweden?
Last time we got relegated from the Premier League, we got into Europe via the back door. The fair play, do you remember?
Fair play, yeah.
Played that team from Luxembourg, Avonmere Beggen. We beat them like 8-1 at home or something. Yeah. 1-0 over there.
Was it Torpedo Moscow we played?
In
that, or was that the year before?
That was the year before, I think.
I knew we played them around that 2-year period.
Yeah, that's right. That was the year before. And then I think we go out on penalties to someone like some Eastern European side. I'm having racked my brains here.
It's rolling back the years, isn't it?
Slovan Liberec or something. Yes, I seem to remember Jermaine Wright misses one of the crucial pens in the shootout. What a surprise!
But back in the day when BBC had the rights, because we were on BBC quite a bit, weren't we? With the European coverage.
That one I listened to on the radio, I think. I'm sure someone in the comments can look it up and tell us who it was, but we definitely been out on pens. And I think Joe Royal would have been the manager at that point.
Yes, he would have been. Yeah. Because Burley only made it to October, didn't he?
Yeah. Was it the Grimsby game? Was the final straw?
Just after Grimsby. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if people thought the show on Thursday was depressing. Look at us now.
Yeah, absolutely. My thoughts hidden in are it's a distraction, a welcome distraction, but also a little bit of a challenge for the players. Go out and prove why you should be starting against Palace the week on the Saturday afterwards. There's shirts to be won There are 1 to 11, arguably. I mean, obviously the lap is or more or less a shoe-in every single week as he should be, but there's shirts to be won, and this is another opportunity to go out and prove why you should be starting against Crystal Palace. Make that argument, put that case forward, make it tough for me. If I was Kieran McKenna, that's what I'd be saying. Make it hard for me. Make it really, really stressful.
But by the same token, you had Jack Clarke score that brace at Coventry and he starts the Villa game on the bench.
Yes.
So, I mean,
but has featured more perhaps in the games after Coventry than he necessarily did in the games preceding or prior, rather.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Craig from Winchester makes a good point. We were good to watch under all. Do you remember during the Paul Lambert era, I used to say, I long for the Joe Royle days. 6-4 against Crewe. Basketball games. I think Kieran's brought that back to some extent, hasn't he? Maybe not this season, but certainly in the promotion winning campaigns over the last 2 years, he certainly has. But whereupon Royle, of course, the difference being, whereupon Joe Royle used to have a pretty much standard 11, didn't he? Yeah, as you keep saying, it's like the National Lottery, isn't it? Guinevere, whatever they're called, the ball's out of the thing.
Absolutely.
You just don't know. And Jack Clarke's been a bit of a victim of that, I think, like we say. He has featured regularly, but it was interesting that just as he gets his momentum, confidence with a really good performance against Coventry and the goals that we've been crying out for in the rest of the campaign, gets relegated to the bench, albeit he did see game time, didn't he, with Enciso coming off?
Yes, he did. Trevor said with money, Raw would have got promoted. But more importantly, I guess, for what we're talking about here, Adam says, do you start the main team on Monday or play some rotation? Let's do the 1 to 11. I've got a feeling, because it's Kieran McKenna, and it's also a game that's coming shortly after Wednesday and shortly before Saturday. Although there is a nice gap either side of it, I do feel there's going to be the standard K-Mac rotation this week.
Oh, yeah. As sure as night follows day, Kieran's going to be rotating this side round. Be interested to see what side Nuno decides to put out for Forest, given they went with a bit of a beast kind of team, didn't they, against Exeter and struggled massively. And they got through on pens themselves, didn't they?
But surely their eyes are on the top four. And once again, you would expect some changes from Nottingham Forest this week because their eyes are on the top four. That's their... it's been nice to win the FA Cup, but really their eyes have all got to be set on trying to achieve that top four, which they've put themselves in a strong position to do, but it's by no means, locked up, is it?
No, exactly. The carrot of Champions League football. But I mean, sometimes be careful to sound like Mick McCarthy, be careful what you wish for, because you've seen with Villa this season, kind of tanks a bit in the league, haven't they? Having finished Champions League spots the season before and sort of floating around, where are they? 10th, 8th to 10th, something like that. Got done 4-1 at Palace. So they've found it difficult to kind of balance the two, I suppose. Look, Forest was one of my teams I said would be relegated this season just because I described them as batshit crazy. That still applies, but they're so crazy, they're now in the top four. They've gone the other way.
It's been a fantastic year for them. It really has. And Craig says, I think it would depend on the draw today, how strong we go. I think, and I agree with Hamish in the chat, I think Muric will start in goal, Matt. Do you think Muric will start in goal, or do you think Alex Palmer will keep the gloves?
What, you want to give Forest 12 players? I can't see that at all. No, I think Palmer
he is currently, he is our number 2 goalkeeper. He's on the bench. This is a cup game. Normally, albeit, not in January 2001, you would expect your second goalkeeper to start. That's where I'm leading with that. He's still going to perhaps play a part, Muric. I get the logic. I'd go with Muric in goal because he needs to play. He needs to find the way back to get his form and whatnot. But who would you go and go? Well, what do you think? Who do you think would be in goal? I
would go with Palmer just to try and, albeit I think obviously we're going to have a completely different back four to what we had at Old Trafford and Spurs. Just to give him the game time against top flight opposition. Don't forget he's conceded 7 goals in the last 2 games after that brilliant performance at Villa Park. So he might just need a little bit of goal. Actually, he played very well against Man United. Not a fault for any of the goals, was he? Particularly. No. But it will rankle that he had conceded 7 over the last 2 games. So I think he will play. But I do get jokes aside, I do get the logic of Muric. And we need to build Muric's confidence up as well in case the worst case scenario, something happens to Palmer. And you've got to bring Arrow back in. So I can see the argument for both. But given that it seems it's Palmer's shirt, I would probably keep him in the sticks, I think.
But if it was Muric's shirt, I don't think the conversation would be too dissimilar of, it's the FA Cup. it's your chance to play your second goalkeeper notoriously, and unless I've missed an injury to Slicker, it's been Muric on the bench, so he is the de facto number 2.
Yeah,
it isn't like he's been relegated to the third goalkeeper, and you're seeing Palmer and Slicker.
Yeah, exactly.
So if Palmer goes down injured in a game, you're going to have to call on Muric. You might have to call on Muric, if you have got a calf injury, for example, the same way Muric did at the start of the year. So you might not like it as a Town fan, Matt, or others.
No.
But surely the logic says you've got to, keep your second goalkeeper in.
Well, this is exactly what Matteo Sereni was saying, as you rightly said just a few moments ago. We were saying back in, 2002 or whatever it was. I seem to recall back in the days I could get tickets away. My back-to-back away games was the San Siro for Inter Milan, followed by going to Dagenham and Redbridge. And
that was the start of the end, really, wasn't
it? Yeah. I mean, two more contrasting stadiums you'll never find, but back in the day.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, so you're going back 4 or back 5?
I've got a back 4 here.
Okay. What is it back 4?
I'm bringing Godfrey back in at right back.
Okay. Yeah, no, why not?
Again, someone else who's our player currently, and needs his confidence.
I agree.
Lifting up a little bit, I think. I was really pleased with him, Godfrey signed, actually. Just thinking back to how good he was for Norwich, wondering whether or not to say their name then. And, of course, Everton, and then getting England caps, and then kind of disappears off the radar because he's gone to Italy, where he's not featured. So for them to bring him back here, I thought was a really good move, and it hasn't really worked out for him yet, has he? But I mean, he's been thrown in the deep end against Man City and Spurs, having, like you rightly said, not featured for Atalanta either. So let's bring him back, I think. And then I'll have the 2 centre backs would be Wolfenden and Burgess.
Okay, yeah.
I did wonder whether or not Burgess might get a run out at Old Trafford. Given the 4-1 against Spurs, and we've seen Greaves and Burgess rotated around quite a lot this season. It feels like we didn't see that at Old Trafford, so I feel like we're probably going to see it at the City Ground. And then I'd probably give Connor Townsend another run out, to be honest with you. But but then you lose the attacking threat of Leif Davis, don't you? I mean, look, Connor does get forward, and as we've said on previously, he has got quite a good set piece delivery. But I'll probably give him a run out. Does that 4 match yours, or are you going completely different?
Well, no, you've got 4 of my 5. I'm playing a back 5. I'm playing a back 5.
You're keeping O'Shea in, are you?
No. So Godfrey, Wolfie, Burgess would be the 3 centre halves. Leif Davis for me would be the left wing back.
Okay.
I know you were 50-50 on that one. I think you went Townsend, but I'll go Davis, and I would bring in Ben Johnson at right wing back.
Like it? There's an argument for that. Yeah,
I get what people are saying in the chat about Godfrey. I mean, Hamish says there's a reason why he plays 0 league games for Atalanta this year, but very similar to Muric. He is a Town player. You want to keep him in the best possible condition, because if Axel goes down injured, suspended, like he was obviously after Villa, you're going to need him. You're going to have to call on him. So it makes sense to not only rest Axel, who's always had his injury concerns this year, but equally get some game time, get some minutes into the legs of Ben Godfrey.
That's a really good point. And and like George Hurst, we can't really trust Axel's fitness, can we? His Town career has been, it started, the fact that he had left Man United and through injuries was why he didn't remain at Old Trafford. And he's kind of been peppered with injuries with us, hasn't he? I mean, he's had 2 major ones this year, hasn't he? This season with the domestic incident and then the hamstring, I think. I wouldn't rule out the fact that something else, touch wood, it won't happen, but I wouldn't rule out something else coming. So you've got to keep Godfrey and Johnson tip top, I think. And Johnson's played very well in that right back role. He is a traditional right back, really. It's a question mark about him going forward, but he played very well in that role against Fulham, for example, away from home. Made the goal, didn't he, that Smodic scored with the jump up at the far post onto the bar.
It's funny that, isn't it? 'Cause I've got more confidence in him going forward than going backwards. So it's funny you say that.
Yeah. I'm kind of like 50-50 about him having an attacking presence, really. But when you do break it down and you look at games like Fulham or Leicester at home, for example, where he was in a more attacking mindset, he's done very well, actually. So he was a safe pair of hands kind of signing, wasn't he, that we got for nothing. So yeah, give him some game time. So yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that side defensively either, to be honest with you.
So a theme you'll see with my side is that if Town have got any chance of escaping the drop, while the FA Cup is lovely, you've got to obviously prioritise the upcoming league games, and we're going to talk about how there may be an extra glimmer of hope after yesterday's proceedings a bit later on. But you've got to start prioritising the league. So midfield 2 now. What's your midfield 2 going to be?
I'm going to go with the midfield 2 I thought we were going to see on Wednesday at Old Trafford, which is Morsey and Taylor.
Correct. That's the same as me.
Yeah, you got the same?
Yeah.
Because let's not forget, they've only partnered each other once as a start in the league against the Bournemouth game, of course, which is famous for throwing the lead away right at the death. But they played very well in that game. And I really liked how Taylor got forward. And I think we've said on the show previously, had 4 or 5 shots, which I think Cahuste's had over the course of the whole season. Taylor got that over 90 minutes. I would like to see that. I'd be very interested to see what kind of midfield that Forest put out. But Morsey and Taylor, decent. And you've got the same.
Fully agree. Yeah, my reasons really for Morsey and Taylor is that Cayuse did play Wednesday, but had a knock, and it was question marks whether he would play Wednesday. So I'd rest him, and I'd also give Calvin Phillips another week's rest because that's my midfield 2 moving forward when they're both fit. Palace is arguably just as important as Monday. However you view the League or the Cup, you could argue it's more important. You could argue it's less important with the current points total. But then midfield 2. So I'd get minutes into Morsey and Taylor, who aren't a bit bad midfield 2. And again, as I said at the start of the show, Matt, in terms of the message I'd be sending if I was Kieran McKenna, midfield 2 isn't settled. There are shirts or a shirt there to be won. So go out and grab it, Sam Morsey, Jack Taylor, whoever. Give me a headache. Give me a reason why Phillips and Case perhaps aren't now my midfield 2.
Yeah. Like it, yeah. Good thinking. Nice little League One vibe there as well, isn't it? Into the 5th round of the FA Cup. Been on the journey, the two of them. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, decent.
And for Jack Taylor, you're also, looking at next year as well, in the sense of Jens Kajus arguably won't be here. Calvin Phillips arguably won't be here. Both probably definitely won't be here if we get relegated or whatever. That's a conversation for another day. That leaves Sam Morsey, a returning Cam Humphreys, Massimo, who's out of contract. So Jack Taylor, really opportunity again, more minutes, another opportunity to say why he should start this year, but certainly looking longer term, why he should be the answer for any midfield that McKenna is planning next year.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, certainly Jack Taylor looks like the future, doesn't he? Certainly if we go back to being a Football League side again. He'll probably pick up the Cahuste role. And then we'll have to see who comes in as the more enforcer next to him, depending on what division we're in, I suppose.
Really, because you've got a returning Cam Humphreys, who arguably could fill that role. Had a great year with Wickham, coming in with lots of momentum, coming in with lots of potential. That's slowly now being
further forward. There is he? He's playing a little bit further forward, I think.
But there you go. But he's not going to play a 10 in McKenna's system, is he? Next year.
Well, let's not forget he was playing left back for McKenna.
If you look at numbers on a sheet, you wouldn't necessarily start Cam Humphreys over Sammy Smollett or Connor Chaplin in that 10 role next year.
No. It's a bit different in League One, I suppose. But it seems to me that he's been playing. Just talking off the top of my head, I'd have to go and research it a little bit. But I certainly think he's been playing more of an advanced role. Whereupon he's kind of a utility man a little bit, wasn't he? With Town, he was falling into that. Yeah, he was falling into that kind of system, wasn't he? But I mean, what they've been calling him, the Suffolk Messi or something, and they at Wickham. They obviously doing very well there. And that's great to see. I mean, that's the point of a loan, isn't it? To go and make an impact, play 46 games or as close as you can, score goals, get assists, be an integral part of the team, and then come back and you've learned. And our young players have often suffered, like you used to say. Why don't our players get any decent loans? I mean, Wolfenden got a good one, didn't he, at Swindon when we was Championship still. But as we went down amongst the dead men of the third tier, it was like waste of time stuff, wasn't it? But it's good that Cameron's actually, it seems like you might see a trajectory in his career having gone out to Wickham, and we'll be the beneficiaries hopefully next season.
Hopefully so, Paul P, midfield needs a complete rebuild, so Tane needs to step up and grab a spot. Adam, arguably all our midfield players, if we go down, we'll go. I think Adam means Mike D, midfield needs 100% rebuild next season. Humphreys has a chance. Hamish, Humphreys will be our number 10 next season, or at least he'll be on the bench. Remember, McKenna will likely not be at Town. Don't know if that's definite there, Hamish. Humphreys will be a top player. He certainly will be a top player. But looking at his heat map for Wickham, he's almost all over the place, as a central midfield player sort of would be. So I can't say for sure, looking at his heat map, whether he's played in an advanced sort of 10 role or a more central role, because it is literally all over the place.
He's doing all the work. I mean, look, people remember who watched Talking Town right from the start. We used to talk about this kid coming through, Cameron Humphreys, and we saw him get interviewed, and I was like, there's a Matt Holland vibe about him. I wonder if he could go on and be a town captain one day. Yeah. I mean, of course, then the rocket ship gets built and suddenly we're in the Premier League. So, I mean, and then he falls behind in that development, really. But, I mean, there is an opportunity for him to come back, obviously, depending on what division we were in, most likely the Championship. I mean, I'm sure Wickham would love to sign him for their Championship campaign if they get promoted. I know they got done by Birmingham yesterday, didn't they? I think they're still floating around second or third, so an automatic promotion. They'd love him for their Championship campaign, but I think he could be integral to our midfield, given that we probably think at least three, Phillips, Cahuste and Luongo won't be around anymore. So, I mean, there's a great opportunity for Cameron right there. And one of our own. And you want to see our kids coming through and stepping up like a Wolfenden and Henry Clark have done.
But as a 10, I'm not so sure. Just because I think that the numbers ahead of it,
agreed.
In terms of who, it's not just the numbers, it's who you've got in that 10 role. Like if we go down, you've got the Championship top goal scorer from the year before. You've got Connor Chaplin, who had a good year in our promotion year. That's two options there ahead of him in that 10 role. Well, maybe they'll view him as a player from midfield who can break forward and be creative in that role. Very similar to what we're starting to see from Jens in the sense of bursting into the box, arriving late, getting things going. I don't know. It remains to be seen, doesn't it?
All of those players could be beneficiaries of a new manager that comes in and plays a different system. Might go to two up top.
Oh,
who knows? It could be, it might be George Hurst and Chaplin as a two next season with, I don't know, Smodix behind or
whatever. Up top in 2025, Matt. So it's not allowed. It's not a done formation. It's not a fun. That's been consigned to the history books. That formation, I'm sure it has. I can't think of many teams who play with a two. In all honesty,
well, they do on the continent. I think I've said on here before. I was watching Villarreal versus Valencia. I think it was the Valencia derby, and Villarreal played 4-4-2. They looked fantastic. But I mean, they had two really kind of athletic central midfielders, box to box. Just goes to show the legs you actually need for that kind of system, which we don't really have.
We don't have.
No. But they were very exciting to watch in that system. So you do see it abroad. But I agree with you. Over here, it doesn't seem to be the trend at the moment, does it?
No, it will come back. Just when, because it all goes in a circle, doesn't it? It all goes.
Well,
around.
They'll be watching this show, Martin, and thinking 4-4-2 now on next season.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so the three for you behind the striker, who are they?
Well, I'm going to continue with Jaden on the right hand side. I'm going to go with Smodix if he's fit enough to play in the 10. Albeit he got injured in the commentary game, didn't he? Disappeared again. But again, someone you have to think come off the bench at Old Trafford. Got to think he should be fit enough to, fingers crossed, to play in this game.
You can do 4 minutes.
Yeah. We're 3-2 down against 10 men. On you go. See what you can do. It's only 4 minutes to make an impact. And then left-hand side, I'm probably going to go with Clark, given how well he played in the last round.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't mind putting maybe Broadhead over there either.
Yeah, interesting that one, isn't it? Interesting, really. If it was a 3, I'd be more inclined to. I don't know. Smodix last 20 for me. I don't want to. Let's ease him back. Let's get him back ready for Palace and the league. Give him give him 20 minutes Monday night to end the game. Get him some minutes in the legs, not 4 minutes. I mean, that's just. I still can't believe it. Every time I say it out loud,
I know, it's like ludicrous, isn't it?
It's like somebody will play Football Manager who's forgotten to do their last sub, and they're suddenly sitting there going, "Oh, I've got a sub left. Let's stick him on." It's like 4 minutes left. What's he going to do? I mean,
given the Johnson chat, I mean, there is an argument there. Well, I would like to see Jaden on the left as well, given that we were told that he actually was a predominantly left-sided player, albeit he played on the right-hand side for Villa, but seemed to do all his good work for Hull on the left. So there's an argument maybe to put Jaden on the left and Johnson on the right. So at least you've got that kind of like wing backish right side protection there for Godfrey, I suppose, depending on what the Forest team looks like. But Jaden, Smodix and Clark is probably what I'd go with. But yeah, I do get the logic of just wrapping Smodix in a little bit of cotton wool, given that he could be quite instrumental in the Palace game. Now, whether or not in so he gets back for the Palace game, I know the Brighton Argus were reporting that he was very close to returning, I think.
That'd be really good news, wouldn't it? Really good news. And we've got Chaplin back in training, so I don't know how many minutes, if any, he could get Monday.
Yeah, could make the bench tomorrow, Chaplin.
So you could have two players sort of in an ideal world getting 20 minutes, in Chaplin and Smodics. You could have, obviously not Cisse can't play, but Cisse back post Nottingham Forest, which would be really good. In my system with the two, really you could name any two, and I know they're not necessarily their strongest positions, but I'm not quite sure that's ever stopped us. You could have Broadhead and Jaden behind George Hurst. You could have Jack Clark and Broadhead behind George Hurst. I mean, because you've got injury concerns at that 10 position within Cisse, Chaplin, Smodics.
Yes,
I don't really want to play Amari Hutchinson because he's the only.
Well, he's going to be injured, isn't he, Amari, after the red card challenge? So he's going to he might not make the Palace game. Well, I doubt he would make the Palace game. I would have thought. Did McKenna say in his interview, he might be in the presser, they might be missing for a few games? I mean, he was lucky.
I'm not sure. I didn't see it. I've not been engaged with Ipswich Town stuff.
No, he
but it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me because you're right. It was an awful tackle, and he probably will be injured.
He was lucky.
Which is again another reason why you want to perhaps protect both tens coming back in Smodics and Chaplin.
What I would like to see tomorrow from Town is just to get away from that second half. They were so conservative in the second half against 10 men, weren't they? And I know United made it difficult for us in hindsight by dropping red shirts right back into the box. But we just did not have the attacking prowess to break them down, did we? I just hope Ipswich can. And you think back to the first half of the game against the City Ground before Christmas, because they only beat us 1-0 by penalty, didn't they? The Chris Wood pen. Yep. We played very well in that game. We could have taken the lead a couple of times in that game, and we got on the front foot there. So I just hope Ipswich just go for it tomorrow. It's a one-off game. It's a cup tie. There's not league points at stake. So I just hope they can just maybe find their mojo a little bit, because it was sadly lacking against 10 men at Man United, and that was the most annoying thing, really. We couldn't capitalise on the moment that the fan base had been waiting for all season to play against 10 men.
We don't have anybody informed, do we? There's nobody sort of been the case all season long. And looking long term, look at Palace. If you played a 4-2-3-1 at Palace, or even a 5-3-2 or whatever formation that you kind of want to call that, who is playing in the 10 role as of now?
Yeah, very good point. I mean, well, in an ideal world, Cisse's back, but that might be back from the bench. Maybe.
Chucking him straight back in potentially, or chucking, that again, the reasons why I'd be looking to not limit the minutes, but certainly not starting. Smash,
The question mark about Cisse, whether or not he's going to be fully fit from the bench. Amari, it seems like, won't feature. Maybe a Chaplin, Chaplin and Smodic seem to be the leading runners for that at the moment. Maybe Chaplin will get some minutes from the bench tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see. But everyone's coming out either injured like Amari, or you're coming off in long-term injuries like Cisse, Smodic, Chaplin.
Yeah, exactly. Hamish says Broadhead should play 10 within Cisse out. So you could have that. I'm playing Hurst up front. Are you agreeing with that?
Yeah, he played very well against Coventry. I know this is lesser opposition, but he's had these little cameo starts, hasn't he? He's done all right. He done all right against Brentford, scored. Ditto the same against Coventry, albeit from the penalty spot. But, he made one of the Clark goals. Actually, made both Clark goals, if I remember rightly. He makes the pass for the first one, then pressured the defender, didn't he? To pass it out, to lose possession on the edge of the box for the third one. So, I mean, that's a good... but again, that's a good, probably, standard for Hurst, whereupon his skill set probably sits within top end of the Championship, I would have thought. But, he's done all right. When we've seen him this season, he's done all right, I think.
Yeah, Hamish says Hurst for sure. Look a better team with him than the lineup. If we've got a big injury, worry, concerns, crisis, whatever word you want to put in with it at the 10 role, why not play a 2 up top? Perhaps at Palace or wherever. Hurst, because Hurst is really good at link-up play, bringing players into it. He can play the old school, 10 that is up front but drops in between the lines. Like you can't keep, if you haven't got the numbers to do the system that you ideally want to do, you've got to adapt and show and play a formation which is what you've got. Yeah,
I mean, that's another criticism of McKenna, isn't it? He just seems stuck on one up front the whole time. If you do watch a lot of Bundesliga or La Liga or whatever, as we were saying earlier, you do see a lot more flexibility in the formations. It's not like you're on a game setting where you started the season at 4-2-3-1, and you've got to do that for the next 38 games or whatever it is.
It doesn't have to be a 4-4-2, does it?
More flexibility.
You can play a traditional 3-5-2, 5-3-2.
Yeah.
You know, so for example, we're getting off topic here. We'll talk about it midweek. But Palace, you could play Karius, Phillips, and one of Jack Taylor and Sam Morsey behind a two with 2 wing backs and 3 centre halves. You know, more traditional. So you're still not losing perhaps what you're looking to gain from the formation we do play. But what I'm saying is, if you've got Hutch out, Enciso coming back from an injury, Smollett's coming back from an injury, Connor coming back from an injury, all 4 of your 10s coming back from injuries.
Yeah.
It seems madness to, and almost like a bit like a kid at a nursery. He's got a toy and he's trying to smash it into into this peg into the hole that isn't going to go in. But determined this car will go through that tunnel. Like, it was a little bit like the formation if we have got those injury concerns for Palace, which we'll know more after Monday and heading into the game. But we can't keep.
No, and that's the criticism of McKenna this season. He just seems to have defaulted always to the one up front or the 2 either side of the 9 or whatever it might be. That hasn't been very flexible, has it? It's almost like they're too. No. I don't know. It's almost like they don't know what to do if Plan A isn't working.
Well, potentially so. But but we'll know more. We'll know more after Monday, and we'll know more certainly. Hopefully, by the time we discuss Crystal Palace, let's have a score prediction, and then we'll do some news roundups from the weekend's action. Score prediction, please, from the chat and from you.
Well, that's another question now, isn't it? Do we want it to go to extra time? Do we want to know extra half an hour, given that Palace really is the game where we want to try and get the win? I think probably Forest will probably just nick it again, maybe like a 1-0 or 2-1 or something. I hope it's done and dusted in 90 minutes. I don't really want to see the team doing an extra half an hour and then going into penalties. There was various things on forums saying it'll be sod's law that Delap comes on, gets booked or whatever, or gets sent off, and then he's now missing. He's missing the Palace game. I actually don't think yellows count into the Premier League, do they? But the Reds do. We'll come to that conversation in a minute. But you don't want anything to happen in this game, albeit in extra time, that would impact going into the Palace game, because as you rightly say, there's lots of question marks over the fitness of various players in various key positions. So, I mean, if we do win, fantastic. I mean, we'll find out this afternoon who we would draw if we were to go through, because I think it's after the Man United Fulham game a little bit later. It's an extra incentive if you've got Preston at home, isn't there?
That works for both sides, doesn't it? That works for both sides.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Absolutely. I think probably Forest would probably just about nick it. But I hope we put in a good performance. Just one that sends everyone in kind of buoyant to go to Selhurst Park, in which case we'll have another sold out down that side of Selhurst Park. I've stood there myself a few times.
Yeah, likewise.
Wooden yeah, exactly. I think Forest will probably just nick it, but I hope we put in a decent enough performance to think we've got confidence going into the Palace game.
All right, Bad Shirt Club, Hurst to start, but we look like we have a chance 60 minutes. It'd be interesting to bring Delap on and have 2 up front. Adam says 2-1 Town. Hamish says 1-0. Trevor says we win on penalties. Alex says 2-1 Forest in extra time. And Hamish, the draw will place us away to Man City, which will kill all enthusiasm for the tie. Probably true.
Plymouth did all right yesterday. I only saw the game in dispatches a little bit, but they took the lead, didn't they? And got that. I mean, that made me laugh, actually. You think about, I was chatting to someone and we were saying, the Plymouth on TV, playing Manchester City, team trying to stay up in the Championship, yet beat us to the League One title. And here we are in the Premier League. And, weird, isn't it? How that journey was aligned for that whole season. Yet we've gone that direction and they've gone back down. But I mean, but then again, we're in such a better space. We've had a better managerial appointment. We've got better ownership. But weird, isn't it? How you're so aligned in one campaign, yet your futures are totally different.
Yeah, absolutely. Very true. Might Day, we need a good performance. Can we finally put one in for longer than a half?
Mike's right.
Very true. Right. You mentioned people, talking to someone. I got lots of messages yesterday because, as Craig says here, surely the Cunha situation has cheered a few up. Matt, Wolves is arguably Wolves' best player. Well, he saw red yesterday, and he's out for potentially 4 games, if not a few more. We don't know. Could be missing the Town game. Is that a glimmer of hope? Is that a gift? Is that a lifeline? How do you see it?
He's a fantastic player, Cunha, but clearly he's got something wrong with him because he grabbed the security staff's glasses, didn't he, at Molyneux? He's now headbutted that guy yesterday. You try doing that on the street and see where you end up doing those 2 things 3 months.
Didn't he kick him as well?
something went on, didn't he? He got thrown to the floor or something. And he wouldn't go down the tunnel, would he? So, he's clearly a bit of a mad genius, I think, Cunha. But yes, so he will certainly get 3 games for a straight red. He'll get an extra game because he got the ban against us. Then you're in so now you're looking at 4. Now you're in the territory of will he get extra games because of not leaving the field of play when he was supposed to? Some of the drama you're talking about there. I mean, how many games we got left in the campaign now in the Premier League? What, 11?
I think it's 11.
He could be gone for half of those. If you take in 4 and maybe an extra 2 for all the hullabaloo, I'm going to call it, he could be gone. I mean, look, whether or not it's too little, too late for Town, I don't know. But certainly, all roads lead through him for Wolves. They're a very different team without him. I mean, he scores a spectacular goal yesterday. But like I say, a bit of a mad genius, really. But yeah. But whether or not that's enough for Ipswich to cut a gap of 5 points down. Remember, Ipswich have got to win games as well.
Well, this is exactly what I said to you and various others.
yeah.
Yesterday, wasn't it?
You know what I mean, we've won. Reality check, everyone. We've won 3 all season. 1 at home.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see Ipswich putting a run together at the moment to cut the gap down. But look, we'll remain in hope. We'll remain in hope.
But this is it. They're 5 points ahead of us.
6, really, isn't it?
We're 6 with the goal difference, but 5 actual points. And as I said to you, and I said to various others that sort of WhatsApp me or message me with the news, until Town start handling their own business, it means absolutely nothing. Nothing at all. I mean, for opportunity midweek to close the gap, won't get arguably a better opportunity to win at Old Trafford.
Yeah,
didn't take it. Spurs come into Town. All right, they've won 2 on the bounce before us. It was close at points, but walk out with a 4-1 victory. Until Town start handling their own business, no gift is a gift, because we'll kindly say thank you, but no thank you. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for Ipswich to overturn invariably a 6-point deficit, they've got to go on a 3-run winning streak and hope Wolves don't pick anything up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the quickest way of being able to overturn the deficit. I don't see where that's coming, given what the next games: Palace, Forest, and then who do we have after Forest? I can't remember who the.
Well, you've got Palace, you've got Forest, you've got Bournemouth.
Really? Yeah. do we really see that? I don't
Even
know.
If you live in an optimistic world where you say, right, you've beaten Leicester and you've beaten Wolves, so you're now a point, just in basic terms, ahead of Wolves.
Yeah,
they've still got to fail to pick up any other points, because you've shown there's no easy game for Ipswich Town, and we make every potentially easier game as hard as it possibly can be. I mean, they could still be there at Old Trafford now, and they still wouldn't have scored. They literally, you could check in now and they still be there trying to huff and puff. That's the most likely scenario, actually, isn't it? Probably Ipswich not picking anything up until we get to the Wolves game and hope to beat them, and then it's 2 points, isn't it? That's probably the most likely scenario. But certainly Ipswich trying to overturn it outside of that Wolves game, I think it's going to be very difficult, because we've won 3 all season, and we're talking about having to turn to get above them is to go on a 3-game streak where they don't pick anything up. And we've not done it over 27 games. Why would we do it over 11? Don't really get that logic. It's good news that Wolves arguably don't have their best player, but until we start accepting gifts and handle our own business, as I said, you mustn't celebrate too much, because it isn't like it's 2 points at the moment. If we'd won midweek, I think we'd all be jubilant right about now. Because everyone would determine the Wolves game, won't they? Depending on what the point scenarios are when we get there on April the 5th. Well, as this must win, we've not turned up for any must win games yet, have we? Well, our job is to try and make it as close as we possibly can leading into that game. You've got a good opportunity against Palace, because they're not Manchester City. No disrespect to Crystal Palace. You've got an opportunity against Bournemouth. We did play Nottingham Forest very hard at their place. It's another opportunity, albeit a big one because of the season they've been having, a hard one, because the season they've been having. But you've got to start making the best of these opportunities. Let's talk a little bit about Crystal Palace, actually, because yesterday, I don't think there was any malice in the challenge, but arguably the worst challenge I think I've ever seen in my life. And I'm 35. I've watched football since the day I can remember. John Philippe Matete went off injured. I think he had 25 stitches.
in his ear, his left ear.
Michael Oliver didn't see it at first. Needed screens to help him assess it. I don't know why he needed screens, Matt. I think, if you can't see a Shawn Michaels ex super kick, I mean, it's a terrible tackle.
It was. It's been mentioned a few times online. It reminds me when I was a little kid, World Cup 82, Germany versus France. I think it was the World Cup semi-final, and the German goalkeeper, Harald Schumacher, there was a 50-50 ball on the edge of the box, and Schumacher came running out of goal, and Patrick Battiston for France, who was a sub, I think, was running to try and get the one-on-one on this 50-50 ball, and Schumacher turned his body to his left, so he's now facing him side on, and took Battiston out with his hip. And Battiston broke 3 ribs and lost 2 teeth. Was given a goal kick, no free kick, no booking, no sending off. This is like 40 years ago, obviously. There's different culture then, wasn't it? That was probably the worst challenge I've ever seen. But this was up there with that one. Like you say, 20 different studs as well now in boots, causing a 25 stitch gash in Mateta's ear. Yeah, it was just awful. I mean, but then it goes back to some of the conversation I've seen Mark Halsey having in The Sun today, and Keith Hackett, again, used to be the PGMO head honcho, saying that they're too reliant on VAR. And like you say, they actually had to go to the screen in order to see out the severity of the challenge, which is just ludicrous. And it circles back to the conversation we've had over the last couple of weeks, that the refereeing in this country is diabolical compared to what you see in the Champions League and in European, certainly in Spain or Germany. You don't get any of these conversations. And remember, they've got the same VAR tech as we've got. But the standard of refereeing here, and it just seems too reliant on the tech. So for anyone not to have seen that in the match official team, be it the referee, the assistants, the fourth official, just terrible. Just terrible. Yeah, it was.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it when I read the report this morning, to see what happened afterwards. I couldn't believe it, and I thoughts obviously are with John Fleet Mateta, and terrible tackle. But our thoughts are with him, and I think 25 stitches.
Lucky not to lose his ear, right?
Completely, just And the thing is, there's no malice from the goalkeeper. It's a goalkeeper out of his area that can't use his hands, and he's gone for his foot.
Yeah, he has.
There's no malice in it, but it is still a god awful tackle that is reckless. It is reckless. And I can't believe it needed screens. I mean, everyone can see it. If you're telling me the man in the middle and the assistant linesman, assistant referee can't, what's he looking at if he ain't looking at that? The ball's there. Yeah. What are we looking at?
So now they're too reliant on the tech, aren't they? I mean, at least this is the bonus again. If we go down for next season, we won't have this anymore. You know what I mean? I think this bloody nonsense. At least they bring it into the Football League, of course. Unlikely, I think. So the Championship.
But the thing is, in previous rounds, what would have happened?
Exactly. He would he have got away with it? Because they only bring it in, don't they? At the fifth round level, I think they are. I mean, there's an argument for me that if the competition starts way back in August, in the extra preliminary round on the village green in your local village, the competition rules should dictate that you don't have VAR right through it.
Agreed.
Because you're changing it for the bigger clubs. We've had this conversation on previous seasons before, haven't we? We should have made yesterday a very interesting thing because he'd been carried off without any repercussions.
Yeah. Goalkeeper would have stayed on the field.
Too close to see it, as Jamie says here.
Shot.
Heard that one before.
The assistant official and the fourth official certainly aren't, though, are they?
No, it's just bad. It just circles back to bad officiating and the reliance on tech, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And as we say, thoughts are with Mateta this morning. Hope for a speedy recovery. Because as you know, I'm a big John Fleet Mateta fan.
You do like him. You'd love him up top for Town, wouldn't you?
I would love him up top for Town. That's a great player. Really good. I remember coming out of Portland Road up to the Palace home game and messaged you saying that he's some player. He is some player.
Yeah, he did say that. He was the difference maker in that game at the end of the day. And we haven't had that enough on our side, have we? That's the problem.
No, just very much a McKenna hold-up striker. He's strong, he's powerful, he's pacey, he can finish. He's got a good goal return this year, in the Premier League.
He might not be fit enough. Presumably, he might not even be fit enough to face us, I guess. I don't know. I mean, look, we wish him well, but from a sporting scenario, he'll be a big miss for Palace. But yes, speed, his health is more important than football matches.
Absolutely, yeah. 25 stitches in his ear.
That's what's
with him this morning. All right, we're done. Unless there's anything else from yesterday's action I've missed.
Well, I mean, just going back on the VAR thing, they had the world record delay yesterday, didn't they? In that circling back to the Bournemouth Wolves game, it was 8 minutes because they had they'd finally brought in the semi-automated offsides, which we were supposed to have, I think, within the first few games of the Premier League, and they've used them in the Champions League, and they got rolled out yesterday. But apparently, it was so congested in the penalty box when they were looking at this, whether or not this Bournemouth goal should stand, that they then had to draw the lines out. So they have to gone back to what they normally do. And then within that scenario of checking that incident, they had to check whether or not there was 2 handballs. So it took 8 minutes. And then you got all the fans singing, "This is embarrassing," and all that kind of thing. I mean, again, is this really worth it? And it probably, because remember, everyone voted for it, didn't they? I think Wolves brought it to the table in the summer, didn't they? Let's get it gone.
Yep, they did.
And everyone, Ipswich included, who have been moaning about it all bloody season, all said that, "No, we'll keep it." But for me, the argument when it was first brought in was that you were taking football away from, again, like we said earlier, in the extra preliminary round of the FA Cup. Regardless of whether you're playing football on the park on a Sunday with your mates, or right through to the Premier League, you're playing by the same law set. But they've changed that now in order to bring tech in to get the decisions right. But there's always a question mark over whether or not it would work in football because of the delays. It works in cricket and tennis because you've invariably got delays between sets or delays between overs. There's not really
a much faster system in tennis. There's also a much faster system in tennis.
Yeah, the Hawkeye system and everything. But it's just slightly different sports with delays kind of built into them, whereupon football's always been continuous in the half, isn't it? But 8 minutes waiting on. I mean, look, we've been waiting on 2-3 minutes, and look how aggy everyone gets in at Portman Road. Imagine 8 minutes.
Well, they don't talk to you either, do they? They don't actually talk to you in regards to what's going on in the stadium.
They've trialled that as well, like it was like this unbelievable piece thing. I mean, bloody hell, they've only been doing it in the NFL, as we know, Martin, for 50 years.
Yeah, I mean, that's the difference, though, isn't it? You mentioned those other sports that are more stop-start, like the NFL, but the difference is the referee is on the microphone and he explains the decision post. He explains it. Yeah. So those in attendance know, okay, that's what was seen on the video, and also no fans have got confidence in VAR. I feel like in the NFL, you look at it and you get some decisions that are wrong or not correct, but overall they get it right. A good 90%, 95%, 99% of the time. There's confidence in that system. You ask probably 100 fans, whether town or otherwise, about rate their confidence in VAR. It won't be very high. And I just can't but feel it's classic football to start with we need goal line technology and end with an absolute mess. That's what we needed. Goal line technology.
Is it? I agree with you exactly. I used to think that's the reason. I always think back to when it was Mendes for Spurs, that shot from the halfway line, and Carroll
dropped it. Frank Lampard in the World Cup against Germany. Yeah, the ghost goal, as it's called. Yeah,
it was needed for that, but then they've taken a simple scenario, and that would have been more in line with like what you see at Wimbledon, for example, with the Hawkeye.
Yeah. But it is, isn't it? When the ball goes over the line and the referee gets the vibration on his watch,
perfect.
It's simultaneous. But we started with a need for goal line technology, and then ended up with 8-minute stoppages for effectively officials to draw lines on a screen like it's a maths lesson.
It's very interesting. That a good friend of mine was at the IFAB meeting in Northern Ireland because he works for the Northern Irish FA.
Yeah, I've seen this.
And so there's going to be a new law change coming in, which shall start this summer at the Club World Cup, which is if the keeper has hold of the ball for 8 seconds more, the attacking side will get a corner.
And just like, do you remember last year in the Championship when we were playing 20 minutes added on time in August and September?
Yeah.
And then by February, we were playing 3 again.
We've got to go back to normal again, hasn't it?
It will just be like that. First month or two of the season, you'll be getting goalkeepers, pulled up on it, corners given for it. And then from about November onwards, it'll be just because there is a law of the game, if I'm right in thinking still, that is 6 seconds and an indirect free kick. But no one actually ever enforces.
Let's have a look at that. I'm not sure. Yeah, that was the thing going back 10 plus years, wasn't it, or 20 years, whatever it was. I remember because everyone used to you get everyone shouting for a free kick because the keeper had the ball for so long. So we'll have to have a look at that. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's really policed, isn't it? It'll be really policed in that Club World Cup in the summer that Man City are played in. And then by probably in the first few weeks of the seasons, regardless of level, then you're right by Christmas.
Well, just think about the added on time. That
Yeah.
was brought in. There can actually be proper game minutes, and then Sunderland away, for example. What do we play? 8, 9, 10, 11 minutes. I mean, something high from memory.
It was mad, wasn't it? It was like 13 minutes. Something stupid, wasn't it?
And then by the end of the season, we were back to 2, 3, 4. It'll be one of those things, won't it?
Yeah,
Brought in, forced heavy, a bit like wrestling from a corner. Jonas Gunnarsson is still the only player I've ever seen give a penalty away from a corner, and that was away at Reading.
Reading, yeah. Yeah, do you remember that?
I don't think I've ever seen anybody, giving it.
Yeah. No, the old shirt pulls and all that kind of thing.
There we go. It's 14 minutes at Sunderland. I knew it was high. I knew it.
That was it. We were panicking, weren't we? Oh my God, how are we going to get through this?
Yeah.
Not
ridiculous, because that was actually, the terms of playtime minutes, if you like, that had been missed. It's the fact that it starts high, as this law will. It will start enforced, and then by January. Do you remember when?
Yeah. The custodians of the game just overcomplicated everything, be it from, like you say, wrestling at a corner. Is that going to be a pen? Penalties in itself, handball. No one really knows anymore.
No one ever knows. No, yeah.
Then you've got the overcomplication of semi-automated offsides not even working because there's too many players in one little area of the penalty box. It's just nonsense, really, isn't it? I mean, we won't miss all of this if we're back in the Football League. Do you know what I mean? But who knows?
They'll find a way to get into the Football League as well.
I say Championship, most certainly. League 1 and 2, don't know, but Championship would be the next port of call for this nonsense, I would have thought.
There you go. Ipswich Town. 4 minutes on time at the first half of Old Trafford. That was 4 goals, VAR review, and a red card.
yeah, exactly.
The year before at Sunderland, that'd have been a whole 45 minutes added on time.
Yeah, another hour.
Yeah,
exactly.
Or he'd still be played and not scoring.
We would still be there now. We'd literally still be passing around their box now.
We would be. The Paul Lambert style asthmatics now. It's still there. We just only occasionally see it. Colin's not giving up 100%. No, neither should you, Colin. Never give up 100% until it's absolutely 100% out of our ability to do it. Never give up.
Well, going back to we were talking about Selhurst Park could be sold out. All the away ends are going to be sold out, and Portman Road will be 30,000. They're all thereabouts.
Our first gardener.
Hey,
Simon Bradley's chopping wood in the garden. Good work, Simon. Keep going, Simon.
Good,
you can do it.
He's thinking about town season, getting angry. You can take it out with an axe. Just be careful. Health and safety, paramount.
Yes, and do not try this out.
I mean, look. But we're only setting out realistic scenarios here, aren't we? I mean, look, me and Martin still, in our hearts and hearts, want to stay in the Premier League. It's much easier to do a podcast, by the way, everybody, in the Premier League, given the gaps of the games that you don't get that luxury in the Championship. But I want him just to stay in the Premier League. God, I love being in the Premier League. I could deal with Town losing. I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? Week in, week out. You're getting done 4-1 at home, 6-0 by Man City. It's difficult, but certainly I would like to think that if we were to survive, even being at the expense of Man City getting docked points, we'll find out soon, whether we could build on this season and actually become a mid-table-ish kind of Premier League side. That'd be the dream, really. And then you like Brighton and Bournemouth and Brentford have done, and then you try and move on up. That'd be fantastic. I want to stay in this division. Absolutely.
But you've equally got to be a realist.
Oh God, yeah. I mean. And then the flip side of the coin is you've played 27 games, you won 3 of them. So you're telling me you're going to get the necessary amount of points over the next 11? It's going to be very, very difficult. But let's not lose sight of the fact. I was chatting about this at the boxing gym yesterday with some Spurs fans.
Boxing, not talking.
Yeah. Oh, we're a bit of football chatting as well.
You just go for a couple of tins and biscuits, then you don't really actually go lace any gloves up. Shocking.
Yeah. I was chatting to some of the Spurs lads and everything. I said, look, we still, even though we're getting beaten heavily, we are a good team. We're just not good enough at the moment for the level that the Premier League is performing at. That's the only. We go back into the Championship, we will be competing for the title. Everybody,
I agree.
Guaranteed, we will be competing for the Championship, and certainly with Leeds hopefully out of the equation, and the other clubs, as we said Thursday night, Sheffield United, Burnley. Luton seem to put all their parachute payments into their new ground, so I don't think they'll be doing anything if they do happen to stay up. I know they won yesterday. So good times are ahead, but whether or not it's in the Premier League or the Championship, we'll just have to wait and see. But it's going to be very, very difficult for Town. But, cut McKenna some slack a bit. It's his 3rd full season as a manager.
Yeah.
Who would have thought we'd even be in the Premier League?
Exactly.
In that time frame. You know what I mean? It's just
it's
frustrating. just frustrating.
Craig at Winchester, formerly of Portsmouth. The year before Leicester won the league, they won 7 out of 9 to escape relegation. Look, before Man United, before Old Trafford, I was telling you all there's a chance, there's twists and turns still to come. Town will survive, and I was being sort of ridiculed in the comments post show. But following Old Trafford, what is I've told you, Matt? Embrace the pain before the pain gets you. So I've started to fully embrace that pain of relegation just to protect my heart.
But if we are to stay up, you'll find me and Martin outside the Curve Bar on the final day of the season, probably with ice buckets on our head, as we were last May.
Certainly will do. And who knows if we've also won the FA Cup. Imagine a world where Town survive and win the FA Cup. So a Premier League side in Europe. And we have the conversation of
what a season that
would.
What a season that would have been. We've escaped relegation and won a trophy. That seems a long way from this conversation at the moment, but look, let's not give up hope. Absolutely.
Hey, if we're going to dream big.
Might as well. I'd love what a scenario. That'd be the greatest season in Ipswich history.
Wouldn't it just? You imagine that, staying in the league and also being in Europe next year.
Yeah.
God, we could see Jens Kajus arrive and 3 or 4 other quality players from the continent. We could see a real evolution in the squad, and then of course in the summer we can have this huge conversation of how did Town avoid repeating the mistakes of the Burley second year, as opposed to the conversation right now, which is why aren't we as good as the Burley first year?
Yeah. Do you think if we all as a collective just wish for this, we can manifest it into happening? Be unbelievable, wouldn't it?
If you speak it, it happens, or something along those lines, I hear. But anyway, we're done for today. Thank you for watching. We've made 57 minutes out of nothing, let's be honest, but thank you for being with us. Like, subscribe, and don't forget Stowmarket Osteopaths. Don't live life in pain. Give Freddie a call, 01449 613 633. Give Freddie a call and tell him I have sent you. I know AD goes and he says he is magic. I go and I equally agree with AD. He is magic. Freddie, that is, not AD. AD might be as well, but Freddie, in terms of
Stowmarket legend.
They're both legends in Stowmarket, Freddie and AD. But anyway, thanks for watching. This man here has been Mr. Matthew Phillips. You've been a wonderful audience. Join us again during the week. Obviously, we've got a game tomorrow. Match preview for Palace coming up. So another busy week at Talking Town. But until then, stay well, stay healthy, take care, and God bless. Bye-bye.